Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
I'm Noreen Daly, and welcome to another Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. And the conversation that will continue this time around is, how can one's dad impact your relationships? There's some people listening and saying, some of what you're saying is going to require time that I don't have. What is your response to that?
My response to that is just simply get up. If you can find Ellen G. White books, listen, this woman has set out some nice information for us, but half of us don't have the time to read them and focus on them. And if you simply start looking at some of these books, Ministry of Healing, you will start seeing where she has shown that as natural as possible with how you eat, you're going to realize your body, you don't just look good, you feel good. And the mood is different, and the way you approach people, having these conversations with everyday people. You're such a totally different person than the person you were before. I've used the last year and a half and realized that the way I was last year compared to this year, I'm more in a chill mood than I was last year. And I put it back to getting to where I'm cleaning out my system, eating the way the Lord designed for me to eat. And as I said, not being a vegetarian anymore, but nothing is wrong with vegetarianism. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. But then the Lord had fed the multitude with fish. So it simply means nothing is wrong with me having my fish. So I'm just saying.
Okay. So now that we've spoken a lot about that, how then for you? You said just now that the last year and a half, you're in a chill mood, and I'm guessing based on the conversation we're having that you're saying that a lot of that is based on your diet.
I have been making sure that not only am I drinking enough water, I'm eating as natural as possible. And you know one of the most important thing? Rest. I have no idea why, especially in the Adventist system, we talk about being temperate, but then we're so overworked. One of the things I've been doing within the last year and a half is making sure that my body gets enough rest. I'm in my bed sleeping at 8 o'clock at night. I'm up at 3:30. I have my devotion. I go for a walk or stay right in my bedroom and do my squatting and lunges. And again, with that, just eating properly. And with all of that, of course, I'm going to be cute and I'm going to be quite fine. Life for me right now is good.
We're going to backtrack a bit because something just popped up in my head, because I know there different books will tell you different things that you must eat after a certain hour and that. But could you then give us something as if what to avoid? Because I know with my limited knowledge again that there are some things you really shouldn't eat late at night because it can rest on your system, which then impacts on your rest. So then when you wake up, you don't feel as rested, which impacts on your mood. And then you wonder why you're so grumpy and on edge throughout the day because you really didn't get adequate rest. So goes back to your diet. So what are some of the things like at night, or is there a quote unquote cutoff point? Like you shouldn't eat beyond X time.
Different people go to bed at different time. For instance, I go to bed 8 o'clock at night. It simply means at 5 o'clock, I do not eat or drink anything. My cutoff time for eating and drinking is at 5. Because my bedtime, I'm already in bed at 7 o'clock. So a 2-hour mark before you decide it's your bedtime, you should cut off with eating and drinking. That way, you are able to have a restful night. You don't have a lot of food in your system. Because that is what happens. If you go to bed with a full stomach, it's going to make you tired. So you have a restless night and you wake up in the morning and you're still trying to figure out if you were working. But it's your stomach that's actually working, because digestion takes 3 to 4 hours. depending on what you eat, within that 3 to 4 hour period is when digestion takes place. And you should have your digestion taking place before you fall asleep. That doesn't happen, you're going to be restless. So if you know you go to bed 10 o'clock, you need to stop eating from 8 o'clock. Okay. Nothing should go into your mouth at that point. Cut off at least 2 hours before you go. It's your bedtime. Okay.
What are some of the things that we really should avoid? Because some books will say, well, you must have your heaviest meal, the very first meal, which is breakfast. So then you by evening, or if you're having dinner, whatever you call it, supper or dinner, it should be something light. So are there some things that you really should, avoid eating for supper or / dinner?
And you see, that is it too. Different people. I would not use everybody to say, this is how this person eats and everybody should be eating like that. Good. As I said, I don't have breakfast because I fast in the morning. And then it's by 10 before I have a fruit. That works for me. That might not work for somebody else because they need to be having something or else they're going to feel sick. So the whole idea is you need to look at, what is my body telling me? You're going to work with how you feel after you have had certain things. And this is why sometimes you do a little trial run to see, if I eat this food, how does it affect my mood? How do I feel? Right. So, stay away from that. Because some people will say at night, they can have a full meal. Cut off point, they finish eating at 8 o'clock, but they can have a big meal that time. And they're quite fine. For me, I'll be throwing up because my system is not accustomed to that. And for me, I would want to train my system for me to be eating at that point. So it depends on what works for each person. But just cut off the eating 2 hours at least before it's your bedtime. That way you can actually rest. Okay.
If somebody's listening saying, yes, it's easy for her, duh. She's not living here. She maybe don't have, some of the challenges we might have in terms of accessing, certain types of food. What would be your response to that?
Which is why my thing is, don't think about what I eat. Think about what you have. What are the resources that are in front of you? If you have sweet potato, you can get sweet potato all the time. And you cannot get the cauliflower or the broccoli that I have. But what you can get is a lot of root vegetables, your sweet potato, your Irish potato. Guess what happened? Eat your sweet potato and Irish potato. If that is what you're going to have with some curry chicken, eat that. If it's one carrot you have with that, then you go eat that. But guess what happened? Watch the amount of it that you eat. You can still do the same thing and drop the same amount of weight I drop because it's portion size that does it. But the whole idea is make sure that you're getting in your protein and you're getting in some vegetables. Because remember, you need to remember, you have vegetables, you have different category of vegetables. It's not just one. You have your root vegetables, you have your stems, you have your seeds. So you have you're talking about you have your corns and your beans and peas. Those are your seeded vegetables. Okay. So you're still getting vegetables there. So if all you have is seeded vegetables and not the leafy vegetables or the stems that I can get, that's what you're going to have. And you're going to create your meal out of that. But watch the portion size.
You're back to portion size again. How do I then determine what is the portion size?
You see, that is the problem. Some people just like to eat one big plate. The bulk of your plate, if you have that plate, half of your plate should look like the rainbow. Okay. Which simply means, what I'm telling you, I need to be seeing some color, some greens, some yellows, the reds. You need to be having half of your plate with your steam or raw veggie. And then
it's not half of the meat and half of the rice.
The other half of the plate is supposed to be the protein.
And then the vegetable on top.
Right. Because I know in Jamaica we like to do the whole rice and peas. Right. We have potato salad and we have mac and cheese. Right there you're looking at 3 carbs. Yes, the peas is protein, but you need to realize that even if you're eating your peas and beans, guess what happened? It's full of carbs, which is one of the things that vegetarians don't stop to look at. So they think they're eating complete protein. Yes, it's plant-based protein, but it has a lot of carbs, which is why I had to move from the vegetarian diet in order to drop my weight. Because needed to do that whole protein, complete protein and vegetable thing. So I had to cut down on that bean thing for a while.
You've been talking a lot about your weight, and you can tell that she is obviously proud that and as her friend, I am proud of her too. And how then do you think that has impacted even in terms of how you relate to people?
Very well. Because let me use an example, for instance. At work, I have two co-workers who I remember February 10 when I decided I was going to watch how I eat and drop the weight off. They looked at me and said, I don't see that working. I remember at the time I was a size 14 and one of them was a size 10 and the other was a size 12. I was a size 14 and I said, listen, the end of the year, I will be a size 6. It did not take me to the end of the year. I remember that was February. And I told them that graduation in June at school, I was wearing a size 6 dress to graduation. I was in a size 6 dress. Because by then I moved from 189 pounds and had dropped weight where I had dropped off 49 pounds. And I remember they looked at me and said, we are proud of you. We are shocked and we need your help, because now we realize that you were not just talking about it. We saw how you were eating and we need your help. What I did was I said, you know something, get on board. Let us now sit and plan our lunches together. I work with those two young ladies. I know it was hard because at first I think they really wanted to knock me out because I was really hard on them. I was like their accountability partner. I held them. I had to actually have them take pictures of what they were eating if I was not with them, and they had to send it to me, and I would counsel them on it. I'm proud to say one have lost 20 pounds and the other one 16 pounds. Before I left for Jamaica, they said to me, I said to them, I'm giving you the right to eat what you want to eat for the Christmas. But when we start in January, we're starting back fresh. So for me, it had gotten us a little closer than it would. There were some people who, as far as they're concerned, it was not going to happen. They hated the fact that I dropped the weight. And, you know, the funny faces started coming like I was the reason why they did not lose their weight and I lost mine. But the fact is, I was disciplined enough to do what I did. And I was ready to work with whoever, you know, needed the help. And right now, I'm proud to say, and I think if Donna Thomas is listening to this, she will also endorse what I'm saying. Because my friend Donna, I was able to work with Donna. Donna is in Florida. I was able to work with her. And Donna is able to reach not just the goal weight that she wanted to, but she got smaller than she even wanted to get to.
Nice.
And we literally did this by talking on the phone, texting and emailing. And it worked. So guess what? I'm ready to work with anybody who wants my advice and want help to get to their goal weight. I'm ready to do that. All you got to do is just email me. My email address is patjgayle@yahoo.com. That's PATJGAYLE@yahoo.com.
Okay. You said a lot, Pat, but is there anything else you want to add before we leave?
Yes. If two people are together and one person out of the two are very focused on their health and eating well, the other person is not, it can put a strain on a relationship. But I think what needs to happen is that people need to get to the stage where they compromise. So it's not about, you're a married couple, it's not just about the sex life. But if two people come together and you decide, you know something, let us compromise, and one need to actually drop the weight, you can actually go walking. Come up with the idea of, you can go for walks. Start it out that way. and just start looking at how can you cook and eat together where you're doing it healthier than you were before. And that will work where you're helping each other along the way. But if one person jealous of the next one, it can actually put that strain on the relationship. So it's all about compromising.
Thank you so much, Pat. How can one's that impact your relationships? Ladies and gentlemen, this was Making It Last podcast with your host, Noreen Daly, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't